Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matthew back with Watty's channel. Today is Wednesday, March 22nd, and we are continuing with the My Favorite Hasbro tournament. This is going to be the first episode of round 3. Just like what we did in round 2, we're simply going to be pulling names out of a hat, and that's how we're going to pick our matchups for this round. So, today I did create both episodes 2 and 3, or part 2 and 3 of the LJN Series 3 review. So, this is actually going to be the third video that I'm making today. But this video is going to be posted after that LJN Series review. So, this will still be in order nonetheless. So, I am going to kick off the matchup. Do the same thing we did before. Random drawing. Alright, so our first matchup is going to feature Sergeant Slaughter squaring off against Virgil. Next matchup will feature Custom Bret Hart squaring off against the Custom Macho Man from Series 5. Alright. And then this is going to be Skinner squaring off against the Brutus Megamaniac figure. Oh, I just dropped one name. This will feature Rick Steiner going up against Jerry Sags. Got all the figures situated right next to me, so the names are getting kind of crushed next to the figures. And number 5 is going to feature Papa Shango going against Series 7 of Crush. Now that, I think, might actually be the toughest one among these battles here. Alright, so first matchup we said was Sergeant Slaughter going up against Virgil. Again, these are actually two really good figures. Two figures. I actually like this chair right here. I mean, normally I kind of sit on like this little paint can, but this thing is just kind of weird though, because it's not your prototypical chair. It's always kind of like leaning forward, and it just kind of looks weird on the camera. Hopefully you guys don't mind. But so obviously, growing up, Sergeant Slaughter was definitely more predominant in my life. As far as skill and technique, I don't know. I guess I've seen Sergeant Slaughter wrestle a whole lot more throughout my childhood. You know, I didn't really get a feel for Virgil probably until he basically cut bait with Ted DiBiase. I'm thinking maybe at one point maybe they did tag team a little bit, but I can't say for sure because I honestly can't remember. But these are actually really two phenomenal figures. As you guys know, I talked about the last time I brought this figure. Virgil was one of those figures that I tried so hard to get when I was first, acquiring my Hasbro line, or, acquiring all the Hasbro figures. And he was always one I always missed out on auction. Always sold for a hefty price. And nowadays, that $40 price tag back then is like a $10 price tag today. And you would think that with time that these figures would go up in price, not down. But, a couple years ago, it feels like at a time that I was buying, everyone was buying. So I absolutely love the boxing version of this. Aesthetically, I think it's a no-brainer. Sergeant Slaughter has the colors that I covet. I always look at the soldier aspect of it. That always gives me nostalgia as well. Everything from the drill sergeant hat to the BDU pants. I don't know. This isn't like Vietnam era. This is probably Kosovo, even freaking Desert Storm era camel pants. I mean, this is kind of like BDU pants that I was wearing back in like 2004. So not exactly the same color scheme, but close enough. Color scheme wise, Sergeant Slaughter has the leg up. Fighting pose, I think Virgil has just a slight higher rate than Sergeant Slaughter, and the only reason I say that is because Sergeant Slaughter with the darn finger pointer, which I hate on so many figures. So many characters have this, whether it's LJN, Hasbro, it drives me nuts. And even on the Hasbro figure, Sergeant Slaughter, you constantly see figures with that finger missing. It's a tough call, but for me, I think the easy answer is Sergeant Slaughter. I just don't see how you could possibly move Virgil past Slaughter in this case. I mean, Virgil is an easy answer to make it into a fourth round. I mean, it's a good enough figure, definitely, but I just can't see him past Sergeant Slaughter. Not this. And if he had taken on, I think there's a few figures here right now that Virgil could have defeated to move on to round 4, but again, just a few. Meaning that in round 4, just kind of looking at what's here right now, I don't think Virgil would have made it past round 4. These same figures that I think would have defeated Virgil, I think Sergeant Slaughter still has a shot of beating in round 4, so he could be technically a round 5 figure at this point. We will see how this plays out. So, Sergeant Slaughter is going on to round 4, and Virgil is a third round elimination. The next matchup is going to feature the custom Bret Hart. Here he is, squaring off against the custom Macho Man. Where is he at? Here he is. Alright, so a couple of great customizers. The Denver Moore, Bret the Hitman Hart, not really molded after any particular series. I mean, leg-wise, maybe it was taken from a Series 4, Series 8 Bret, still the same figure, where they probably just redid the whole upper torso. The head-wise, they probably would have kept the same head, because that is pretty much Bret Hart's head from either 4 or 8, depending on what you're looking at. Even the body, I'm trying to think here. I'm looking at the body of the figure. I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm thinking even the body is the same. The only thing that they may have changed out is the hands or the arms. So maybe they didn't really change as much as I initially thought. But Bret Hart, and then from Derek, Pumpkin Man 1986. Again, Denver Moore, Pumpkin Man 1986. Both can be found on eBay. The Series 5 Macho Man is, to me, more of a display piece. It's never been one that I would look at as an actual wrestling type figure. If you want to use Macho Man as a wrestler, your Series 1 or 2 figure is perfectly fine. Even Series 3, with where it actually says Macho Man on the trunks, I wouldn't use that because, again, Series 3 Macho Man is more valuable than Macho King, so again, the Series 5 is just simply for display. I would never use it as a wrestling figure. The custom that Derek did with this figure is absolutely phenomenal. Back in the first round, Derek's figures were just absolutely tearing it up. especially in that first video, in the first couple of videos when I started this competition. His figures were just winning left and right. There is absolutely no doubt that the Macho Man custom is one of the most premier and elite figures of my collection, regardless of whether you like customs or originals. Whether you have a preference, me, I could care less. I just enjoy the designs and the display of the figures. Obviously, fighting pose is always important. With Hasbro's, it's so much easier to work with than any other, figure than, like I say, LJN, because they're at least movable pieces. What do I talk about? The ability to do this. If LJN, I love the fact that LJN's rubber. I love the fact that they're basically unbreakable action figures. I don't know, I just couldn't imagine changing anything with the LJN figures, though. Hasbro's, if they could find some way to make these like rubber-ish, but still find ways to make their arms and stuff removable, that would be awesome. And I just removed Bret Hart's arm. That's pretty nifty, though. How they create the inside of the figure. But that stuff, it just snaps right in. Not a big deal. Again, I mean, these pieces, they're display. They're not like something you would actually wrestle with. So, like I said, this right here is what it's all about. I thought once that comes out, it would become loose, but I mean, you actually feel this. It feels pretty tight in there, but you could still remove it if you need to. So I think that's pretty awesome. I made a comment the last time I brought up this Bret Hart figure. It was something around the lines of how a custom figure won both of my LJN tournaments. In particularly, how that last tournament in particular, where my Bruiser Brody custom had the most difficult battle in every single matchup he had, and won every single one and won the tournament. Well, so far, Bret Hart has had the most elite battles every single matchup, and with this matchup going against Macho Man, it's no different. I said the last time that he was, for lack of a better term, my pick to click. I'm a Cubs fan, so you got to give me some leg room when it comes to using White Sox lingo. Yeah, as of right now, I mean, I have to say that this has to be a front runner to win this tournament. I do think I am going to choose the Bret Hart figure over Macho Man. I mean, this is a really difficult decision. Some of these battles, I think, we're pretty much gonna be over in like within a minute or two of talking about this. But I could really go on with this, talk about this for 5-10 more minutes if I wanted to. This is really a difficult choice. Just give you guys one more chance, the opportunity to really take in the different graphics and design of these figures. Both these customizers, they do a really phenomenal job. And being able to acquire, these pieces of art, absolutely amazing. I want to, every time I look at the Bret Hart figure, I always want to go back and see where he was at, how he got here. So, in round 1, he defeated the custom Yokozuna. It was like a Series 8 Yokozuna with the black and red kind of swapped from the original Series 8. In round 2, Round 2. Where is he at? Series 8. Trying to find the custom version. Oh, here he is. Custom Bret Hart defeated the Series 4 Undertaker, which, again, could have very well possibly been the Hasbro tournament winner. I mean, the one figure that I coveted above all else from childhood. It could have been my champion, no problem. But so now defeating one of the best figures of the collection, you know, that's a tough one right there. All right, so next one we're going to feature is Series 5 Skinner going up against the custom Brutus the Barber Beefcake, or aka the Mega Maniac Beefcake figure. So, something I didn't catch the first time around, and you know, as I said, when I make my videos, I like to go back and watch my videos. Obviously, when I post the video, I like to watch it immediately right after I post it to, you know, make sure everything, you know, goes smoothly in the video. But also, you know, I'm not just a fan of other people's work, but I might be biased a little bit, but I'm a fan of my own work as well. Maybe because of the things I'm interested in, and because of the videos that I make, I'm interested in the videos I make because, hey, that's what interests me. I mean, simple enough. And so I always go back and watch, you know, my older videos, or, you know, watch videos I made previously. And so a couple of the videos I made featured Brutus Beefcake and who was it? I think it was Yokozuna, if I'm not mistaken. So I kept talking about how I felt like the Series 8 Yokozuna and possibly Series 11 Yokozuna, that how there was a possibility those two figures could have been the last two standing, and they could have been my finals matchup. So Series 8 Yokozuna defeated Series 3 Brutus Beefcake with the zebra pants, the original Beefcake. And then the very next video, the other Series 3 Brutus Beefcake, the custom, the Mega Maniac version, defeated the Series 11 Yokozuna. So in back-to-back videos, you had Yokozuna versus Beefcake Series 3, and by chance, you didn't have Yokozuna or Beefcake defeating both times. You had them split. So that was pretty cool. I didn't even realize I had done that until I'd actually gone back and watched those videos. So I've said it before, I like the color scheme of Yokozuna Series 8 more. I always felt like if it ever came to that I probably would have chosen Series 8 anyways. So that's nice to have that option. I really like the Robert Jackson Mega Maniac custom. As much as I love the Series 3 Brutus Beefcake, same thing. I kind of feel like if it came down to this one, where I had a random drawing, and it came down to this one or the zebra prints, I feel like I would have chosen this one. So having it play out that way, I don't think it really hurts the competition any. But if it comes down to this figure and Yokozuna Series 8 next round, or the last two standing, who do I choose at that time? But the tough part is, does Beefcake at this current moment make it past Skinner? Yes, This is a phenomenal figure. One of the best fighting poses, one of the best looks. We're talking about the the Mega Maniac unreleased prototype. Absolutely phenomenal figure with accessory, but you're also dealing with one of the best aesthetically looking action figures of the Hasbro line. And to top it all off, he also has one of the best arm positioning or fight pose of the entire line. So Skinner, as I said, he's probably one of the top 3 in that regard. The only 2 that I could possibly say is that are more elite than Skinner is possibly Giant Gonzalez and the Series 3 Ultimate Warrior. But other than that, everything with the hat accessory to the way that his shirt kind of opens up like that with the little belt, knife, everything about this figure is just absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this figure. He's got a very simple working action, nothing too flashy. This is a legitimate contender. Could he be in the top 10 of this competition? With so many great figures, I don't know if I would necessarily put him in top 10. I would say he would be coming into this competition. When I decided to make this tournament, if I were to hold this figure up, I would say he would be maybe 1 in 15 chance of winning. 1 in 20 maybe. So with 92 original figures from the Hasbro line, and then I probably had another, 20 or 30 customs, let's say. So being on the top, 20 figures out of 130 with a chance of winning. So not the greatest odds, but definitely way up there in comparison to most. I don't know. This is a lot more difficult than it presents to be. I mean, Brutus Beefcake obviously is the one I want to lean towards. But the Skinner figure, I mean, it's an original, which really helps. And you know how much I covet originality over customization. It's just such a great figure. And the amazing figures, if you can at least see them make it into round 4, I'm okay with that. Because to me, a round 4 elimination means that the figure had a deep run. If it makes it to round 3, it had an okay showing, but nothing super flashy. First 2 rounds, if it's gone, it didn't really have much of a chance. It's tough, but I am going to go with Brutus Beefcake. I think this figure is still way too solid for me not to move it forward for at least one more round. Alright. And then we've got Jerry Sags squaring off against Rick Steiner. 2 absolutely amazing figures. Both figures which are the best among their respective tag teams. Jerry Sags a little bit better than Brian Knobbs, and of course Rick a little bit better than Scott Steiner. The Nasty Boys or the Steiner Brothers, both figures which are either these 2 or the 4 figures combined. The 2 tag teams should all 4 figures should easily be in the top 10 of the greatest Hasbro figures of all time. But I could not put any one of the 4 figures in the top 10. That's how deep the Hasbro line runs. Absolutely amazing figures. Because of the multiple colors, I would lean towards Rick Steiner. He does have a few things about this particular figure that I really enjoy. This is a very old school look to the figure. Everything from the singlet to the more like the high school / college, mat on the floor type of deal with the little headgear and everything. Not your not your professional wrestler type of look. It's like your old school, I guess, real wrestling. I don't know. Because the guys, what they do now, obviously, what WWF does, for example, WWE, whatever. Yeah, it's wrestling, but it's not the equivalent of what you would find high school kids doing. So, not, I don't want to call it not real wrestling. Yeah, it's staged for the most part, but I mean, there's a lot of practice and a lot of agility and technique that goes into, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of acting essentially. It's you got to be as much of an actor as you do an athlete, and I think that's why you find a lot of characters move on to acting roles. The Rock, John Cena as a couple, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. These guys have all done acting gigs because, again, wrestling today for decades have been more about being an actor than being an athlete. So, pose wise, I like the arms forward better than the extended arm. I think 6 times out of 10, I would normally choose Jerry Saggs. But I've always talked about how I always felt like Rick Steiner is one of those figures that I always regretted not having on my top 10 list. I mean, even today, I still know I couldn't put him on my top 10 because I'm pretty satisfied with who I have on there now. But I don't know, it's just two phenomenal figures. And again, you're not giving either one of these figures a proper run if you eliminate one of them this early. I love Jerry Saggs, but I am going to have to say goodbye for the competition. So, Rick Steiner, he is going to get pushed forward for one more round at least. He's going to go to round 4. And in the last matchup, we are going to feature... Alright, so... Alright, so it's supposed to be Crush. Okay, so I'm missing one figure, so I'm going to pause because it's supposed to be Shango against Crush Series 7. So I am going to go pull that figure real quick. I don't have him right here, and I will be back in a split second. Alright, 28 minutes and counting. So I am going to go with the very last matchup, featuring a Series 6 Papa Shango and a Series 7 Kona Crush. So the Crush figure, I've talked about him many times, and every time I've talked about the faces of Crush, I guess, I've always talked about the Ram Treasures figures, and so not exactly a year ago, but sometime around mid 2022. I reached out to Ned and folks over at Ram Treasures. I'm like, hey, you guys ever planning on doing the 3 faces of Crush? Basically, taking the Demolition Crush, the Kona Crush, and the Evil Crush from Hasbro and making it LJN style. They said that they could do it, that it was on the itinerary, but I haven't heard anything back since then. So I've reached out to my buddy Eric, Wrestling Rider on eBay, and I've commissioned him, and that's going to be one of our next major projects. Is he's going to create the 3 versions of Crush. So of course, we're just going to purchase we've already purchased an axe figure, so we're going to take that axe. Obviously, we're going to make that one. We're going to make that Demolition Crush, so that's going to be an easy one. As far as Kona and Evil Crush, who we're going to use to mold after that, I don't know. He knows how much I love poses and everything, so that might mean cutting off some arms and rearranging some limbs and stuff. He's the he's the artist, so I'm gonna leave that expertise up to him. I absolutely love this figure. Again, I don't have him on my top 10 list. He's got to be on your top 20. Right now, I got the Series 11 Purple Crush on my top 10. They're the exact same figure, except you're switching up the purple with an all purple and yellow, or you're switching up a all purple figure with purple and yellow from Series 7 or 11 to 7. A great looking figure. I absolutely love this one, but he runs into a very similar issue that other figures like Scott Steiner, and one of the reasons why I eliminated Atom Bomb, and in fact I might have eliminated Atom Bomb against Papa Shango if I'm not mistaken, and I could actually go back and verify. Sure enough, Atom Bomb lost to Papa Shango. And why did Atom Bomb lose to Papa Shango? Even though I thought that Atom Bomb was one of the most perfect Hasbro figures of all time. And it's the arm positioning. I don't mind the right arm being in the way it is, but with the left arm being stretched out the way it does, I don't like that. I don't like the positioning. I mean, is it really hurting the figure any, or does it really detract from the overall value or playability of the figure? Absolutely not. It's just something that it kind of looks funky to me, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So, for that reason, I ended up going with Papa Shango over the Atom Bomb figure. And now, very next round, I'm put in the exact same situation where Papa Shango is going up against another character with the exact same pose. And again, whether you like the Series 7 or the Series 11, this is, you could call Series 7, let's say, number 5. Or Series 11 number 5, or 5A, and you call Series 7 5B, if you want to look at it that way. So you could still technically call this a top 10 figure if you want to. So you're looking at a top 10 Hasbro figure. Papa Shango is a fantastic figure. Maybe a top 20, possibly top 25. Maybe even as low as a top 30. I don't know. I never actually rated them any lower than, my top 10 favorite. Everything about this figure is absolutely fantastic. Papa Shango was actually a lot thicker than this. And, he's actually this figure makes him very thin. The arm punch motion on this figure works so beautifully. It like Virgil. The arm punching motion on certain figures like Hulk Hogan for Series 5, not my favorite. But on figures like Virgil and Papa Shango, it fits. It fits for the particular figure. I don't know. I'm still gonna go the same route. I love the Series 7 Crush. There is no doubt this is one of the best figures you're ever going to find among a Hasbro. But I still think that Papa Shango is the better figure. I don't know why. It's got to be the arms. I mean, like I said, that arm positioning is what's killing me. Gun to the head, which one do I like better? Of course, all day, it's going to be Crush. But for the sake of this particular tournament, when I put all of the ingredients into the dish, when it's not just about aesthetics of the figure, when you're looking at fighting pose, when you're looking at color and detail, when you're looking at accessories, everything that you could possibly imagine plays a role. Now, if you start taking accessories out of the equation, that obviously makes this a less valuable figure. I don't know. Color-wise, you could still say Color Crush obliterates in that regard, but it's not like that. This figure is without graphics, so this is still a great piece. Yeah, and I gravitate towards dark colored figures as well. Anyways, I like dark colors. I pretty much surround myself with like dark gray and black colors a lot, so that fits me to a T. All right, so in round 3 or round 2, we had 29 winners. So in round 3, we are going to have 3 videos, 5 matchups in the first video, 5 more matchups in the second video. That's going to give us 20 competitors. We're going to have 4 matchups in the last video, and the last of those 4 matchups, it's going to be a 1-on-1-on-1, so 3-man matchup, and that'll take us into round 4. So if we look at it as essentially 28 matchups or 28 battles, so 14 winners. So round 4, we'll have about 7 victors. Yeah. So we'll probably have to do another three-man matchup. So I can either do another 3-man matchup, or I can enter a wild card figure into the equation. Maybe bring back someone like Kona Crush to even out the numbers, but I don't want to do that. So we'll just leave it with the 3-man tournament if necessary. All right, so this will close out this video. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next matchup. Goodbye, everyone.